Hey, my friends, how's it going? Let's have some fun. Mateo's out of town, so we decided while he was out of town, Hazik, let's have some fun. He's not here to make it boring for us. So what I wanted to do is I have all these shorts that I publish on our channel, and I love them. And some of them, what I want to do today is a little different. We'll go over the kind of like a 20 or 30 second kind of clip of something, and I'll explain to you kind of my lawyerly take on it. Okay, I call this the law in shorts. Now I have my laptop live, and hopefully nothing inappropriate comes through, Zeke. If it is, it's because Zeke sends me all these freaking stupid emails. Just right now, can you hold on those? Oh, thank you, Zeke. I appreciate it. All right, this clip, and let me know if you think AJ Soprano is guilty of attempted murder.
Anthony, take me home. I want to go home.
Nice!
So what happened here was AJ Soprano in The Sopranos. He goes to the, it's not the old folks' home. What the heck was it? It's kind of like the, the mental ward, so to speak, right? I don't know what the best word for that is. So, and then he wants to kill Uncle Junior, and he has a knife in his like pocket or something, and then it falls out. Now the question is he guilty of attempted murder? The rule for attempted murder is, did you want to kill someone and did you take active steps to do it? Here, he had a knife. He smuggled it in. It's going to be impossible for him to convince a jury that it was an accident. Like, oh, how did that get there? Because he ran off and he kept saying, he killed my dad. He tried to kill my dad, which shows like kind of an intent of why he had it there. So I think if Tony Soprano wasn't so connected, he would have been found guilty of attempted murder. What do you think, Carlos? Yeah, Carlos is saying, yeah, we got Carlos in the house. Carlos, much better guy than Mateo, much better looking, much more professional. All right, next one. She is being accused of killing her husband. Utah police allege that the way she killed him was she made him a Moscow Mule. Have you ever had one of those, Mateos? A Moscow Mule? It has a lot of vodka in it and ginger beer. And it's supposed to be served in a copper cup because... All right, so this one, Kouri Richins, I did a full podcast. I remember the lady in Utah accused of killing her husband. So the questions in that case are very interesting. I did a whole case on it's a true crime on Kouri Richins. There she is. Very good looking lady, which is probably why the whole thing is so popular. And she allegedly made him a cocktail that had a lot of
fentanyl in it.
Now, what I made a point about in that episode is all of the evidence. Like, there was no evidence that clearly shows she did it. It was just tons and tons and tons of circumstantial evidence. For example, there was one lady said, yeah, I sold her fentanyl. And it happened to be a few weeks before her husband overdosed on fentanyl. There was all these Google searches she had, like things like, oh, what's it like in a Utah prison? How do I get away with murder? Right? How much fentanyl could kill a guy? Things like that. So all those pieces of evidence, little by little, builds up a case. And then other things like she took out life insurance policies, which by itself doesn't do anything, but taking out a life insurance policy against her husband and then buying fentanyl and then doing all those Google searches. So that episode, there was a dedication to kind of when you could introduce circumstantial evidence and can you build your whole case on circumstantial evidence. And I think I recall Zeke saying she is definitely guilty. Yes. Mateo, man, remember that episode? He was like drooling all over her the whole time. That was a tough one. Oh, Carlos, I wrote like a little skit, like imagine like an SNL skit where you have like someone like her, like this really cute, gorgeous girl on trial for murdering her husband, right? And then the jurors, like the judge asks the jurors are all like professional and really, really like listening and everything. And the judge says to the jurors, hey, do you juror number 3, do you have any questions? while you deliberate. And juror 3 is like, yes, Your Honor, I wanted to see if we can get the full autopsy description report, if we could have that so we could read it in the deliberations. And the judge says, sure, I'll make sure you get that. Juror number 8, you said you had a question. And then juror number 8 says, yes, Your Honor, can we get a list of all the contents that was, found in the house at the time of the alleged murder, so we could, discuss that. And then the judge says, of course. And then to the next juror is this like horny looking young guy. Like I was like, picture Mateo playing it, right, Zeke? Like, and the guy, like he was like drooling, and he asked, okay, so if we find her not guilty, will she be available to hang out? like a hot dinner I could take to? And the judge says, juror number 11, that is inappropriate. We will not ask that question. Wouldn't that be funny as heck, Carlos? What do you think?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I write these like comedy skits and they just don't go anywhere, man. Nobody thinks they're funny, but you're laughing. Are you laughing because I think it's funny? Or are you laughing because it would be funny? Let's see it. A new restaurant opened up in Sinaloa, Mexico, and it's called In Out. Some people say it looks like a popular restaurant here in California.
See, they're McDonald's. I'm McDowell's.
It's kind of an interesting issue because the Mexican restaurant, obviously, it's not located in the United States. So how can In-N-Out stop this? Well, luckily for them, Mexico and the United States have signed on to. All right, what do you think, Carlos? That looks a lot like an In-N-Out, huh? By the way, I say restaurant instead of restaurant because my daughter, when she was very small, that's how she would pronounce restaurant. That's a better way to say it, right? It rhymes with astronaut, Carlos, right? So anyhow, here's the law. People always say, oh, but I changed it a little bit or we did it a little bit different, so it shouldn't be a trademark infringement. No. The rule is if there is a substantial risk that customers will get confused whether or not this is an official In-N-Out, then it is an infringement of trademark. And the fact that they use the same colors and lines and they're serving the same freaking meal and they're serving it the same way, and shocks, even the people are wearing uniforms that look like it, that would be a trademark infringement. So you have to close your shop in Mexico, Carlos. Sorry. Close it down. And yes, the United States can file, or companies that are located in the United States can file in Mexico. It is allowed. There are treaties that allow the kind of like the American corporations to file lawsuits in Mexico and vice versa. All right. Remember, this is all live. So if anything weird comes through, it's because Zeke just can't control himself. Zeke, don't send any inappropriate emails. Dr. Friday for bringing this to my attention. The Supreme Court rejected Kenneth Smith's last appeal, and the state of Alabama is set to execute for the first time ever via nitrogen gas. Because I did a episode, and the episode focused on this individual who was on death row in Alabama who was set to be executed by gas. And they put him, they put a gas mask on this guy and shoot him up with so much nitrogen gas that it would get the oxygen like out of his head completely. And they can't breathe any oxygen because the gas is pushing the oxygen out, and then he would suffocate. And I did that episode before the actual execution. And it was kind of crazy because the way our death penalty, the way we execute people in the United States is just nuts to me. Get this. So instead of just shooting him, okay, the United States judicial system thinks that that's inhumane or uncivilized. So instead, we're going to gas somebody to death or, electrocute him to death. What do you think, Carlos? That's like, isn't that nuts? And there's been so many botched executions, including with this poor guy. Originally, they tried to do a lethal injection, and all this is in the full episode, and they couldn't get the right vein to put this lethal injection in. So for 12 hours or something, they were trying to poke him with substances that would kill him, and they couldn't. And then so it was a botched execution. We couldn't execute, as a coach would say. And then so he went all the way to the United States Supreme Court. We did this episode. There was a bet whether or not he would be relieved of the execution, and apparently he did not. All right, one more Sopranos clip. Is Brendan Filone guilty of murder? That is Brendan Filone.
Okay, let's be very cool, yo. Down out of the cab.
I'm a friend of Billy's. Your friend on the inside?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, whatever. Come on. The gun pointed sideways. Get out. Come on, get down. You drive. I'll direct you.
And that guy dies in this fictional. Okay, so the question here was, is he guilty of murder? Because he didn't shoot the guy. There was an accident. One of the co-robbers was getting out of the truck, and the gun fell, and then it hit the ground, and it fired, and it hit the truck driver, and the truck driver died. So all of it was an accident. The question is he guilty of murder? The answer is yes. There is this rule. It's called the felony murder rule. If somebody dies during the commission of a felony, then you're guilty of murder, even if you didn't intend it. Because when they robbed the guy and tried to take the truck, it was an armed robbery. They told the guy to get out, and they were going to steal the truck, but they were going to let him go. Like, they didn't want to hurt the poor guy, right? But he ends up dying, and all of it was by accident. And Brendan Filone, the guy that was orchestrating it, he wasn't even the guy that dropped the gun. However, because the death happened during the commission of a felony, it qualifies under what's called the felony murder rule, and he would be guilty of murder, not like an accidental manslaughter. Any questions about that, Carlos? Carlos is a big Sopranos fan. Everyone there is guilty of murder. And a lot of cases where, let's say there's a bank robbery, one guy, like there's two guys, right? Like one guy's in the car, the other dude's inside, and then even there was cases where like the security guard would shoot, and for example, let's say the security guard shot and missed the bank robber but killed an innocent, bank customer. The getaway guy and the other guy are guilty of murder, even though they didn't do anything, in the sense that they didn't directly commit murder, because a death happened during the commission of the felony of armed robbery. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's see. This one's an interesting one. Kind of like Kouri Richins. We have a cute young lady on trial.
Friday for bringing this case to my attention. Bryn Spidger, pictured here, killed her boyfriend about 5 years ago. They were together at his house. They both got stoned. She ended up stabbing him 108 times unprovoked until he died. She was convicted by a jury in Ventura County for manslaughter. Her doctor said she had a cannabis-induced psychosis and that she was hearing voices and didn't know and couldn't control her actions. Judge Worley, pictured here probably drooling all over her, sentenced her to 0 jail time. She left the courtroom free that very day.
All right, so here in this case, she has the best defense known in our judicial system. She's young, cute, and white. That is the best defense imaginable. No, I'm just joking. Come on. Zeke, don't quote me on that, all right? So here, she intentionally killed her boyfriend. She stabbed him 108 times. And in the case, it was so bad that when she was stabbing him, the knife got dull. So she would go and get different knives until the guy, he was dead. And she just kept stabbing him. And then her lawyers presented this defense, cannabis-induced psychosis, which is code word for she was effing stoned out of her mind. And they found her guilty, and the judge sentenced her to 0 jail. That's pretty nuts. I've known people that stole T-shirts from Walmart that got more jail time. Isn't that crazy? Like, right? Obviously, if I did it, I would not have that defense. What do you think about the judge? He was probably drooling all over her, just like Mateo was that one episode. You know what I'm saying?
Taylor Swift sent a legal cease and desist letter to a Florida college student who publicizes her private flight information online for the world to see.
Taylor Swift has argued that her stalkers have used the information in an attempt to follow her, and the information is causing her stress and putting her in more danger.
Generally speaking, disclosing public information like flight data or court records is not illegal.
All right, so here, and by the way, those two people, They were my bots. Did they look good, or what'd you think?
A little bit creepy.
A little bit creepy? Yeah. I was just messing with you. I just wanted to see how it worked, just so I could learn how it worked. It is kind of creepy. But those were bots. I just typed it in, and they started saying that. So that case, Taylor Swift, she has a private jet, and all airline flights are recorded. They're all public information. So you have this guy that, and he was doing it with Elon Musk and some other people. They would just, I don't know why they do this. This track to be like, oh, Taylor Swift is now leaving, San Diego, and her flight to San Francisco is going to be in 30 minutes, and she's going to land in SFO in 30 minutes. Why would they do that?
His defense was that he's trying to raise awareness towards like flight pollution.
Flight pollution? Come on, Carlos!
How would that hold up?
It depends if a jury believes that nonsense. I don't think they would. I mean, he was just doing it for clicks. And no, that would not hold up very well. He could just publish the next day or 2 day. Hey, in the last week, she flew. He doesn't have to do real time reports, does he?
Elon paid him like $40,000 for publishing.
And did he take it?
Yeah.
Take the money and run. That's all. That's probably why he's doing it. Anyway, I think that's awful to do, but I think it's also lawful. There's how do I put this? There's unlawful, then there's awful, then there's okay. I put this in the awful, but it doesn't reach unlawful because it's public information, and he's just putting out public information. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it's not a lawsuit that she would win. Last one.
Kapoor
I love
commit
The
an
Office.
assault and battery.
Hey, how are you? Welcome to my convenience store. Would you like some googie googie? Oh, I have some very delicious googie googie, only 99 cents plus tax. Try my googie googie. Try my googie googie. Try my...
Yes.
So in this show, The Office, Michael Scott is obviously making fun of her, wouldn't you say? He was trying to get the staff to see like how we could be more tolerant of everyone's race and everything. So he's like, let's just be so funny and racist that we just get over it type of thing. But she had just come in. She didn't know what was going on. She was so insulted that she ends up slapping him. That is a criminal assault and battery, Carlos. Okay. Now the question is it a good defense that he was like talking smack and making fun of her? So yeah, you would think so, Carlos, but no, the answer is no. Any sort of words that are said, unless it's something like, I'm about to choke you right now, like some sort of imminent threat of danger, and there's a self-defense issue. Otherwise, making fun of her would not, so she committed assault and battery. He could have sued her if he wanted. A criminal prosecutor could have detained her or arrested her, kind of like the Will Smith when he slapped, what's his name? Chris Rock? Yeah, that was an assault and battery. And it just so happened that Chris Rock didn't want to press charges. Neither did Michael Scott. If you have anything you want to run by me, run it by my lawyer anytime. I love hearing about these things. Carlos, what'd you think? Hey, we'll see. Let me know if you like this kind of episode. I'll do a lot more of them. I love going over funny things that happen in the world and explaining kind of I've been a lawyer for over 23 years and giving you the Joe Samo rundown. See you next week.